Jack Winslow was more than just a sheriff. He was a symbol of justice in the small town of Evergreen, Maine. The townspeople respected him for his honesty, resilience, and ability to maintain order. In his early 40s, Jack had seen a lot: robberies, murders, drug trafficking. His job was always dangerous, but he believed he was protecting his town and his family from chaos. However, Jack was a complex man. His past had left deep scars that he tried not to think about. In his youth, he had experienced a tragedy. His younger sister went missing, and that event forever changed his view of the world. When he became sheriff, he became obsessed with the idea of protecting his loved ones, which is why he treasured his home, an old mansion passed down from his grandfather. This house symbolized the stability and security he longed for. The house, surrounded by dense forests, seemed like a quiet refuge from the bustle of the world. Here, Jack felt in control. His wife, Sarah, decorated the rooms with love, and their children, Michael and Clara, grew up in an atmosphere of warmth and care. But despite this, Jack always felt something strange about the house. The creaking floorboards, sudden gusts of cold wind, and the feeling of being watched, he attributed it to the quirks of the old building. Jack tried to ignore these little things, but a deep part of his consciousness suggested that the house held dark secrets that his grandfather had never spoken of. His father, who had also grown up in this house, always avoided talking about the past. Now Jack would have to find out why. At first, everything was calm. The house seemed like the perfect place to live, spacious, quiet, with a large porch. Sarah was passionate about decorating, filling the rooms with light and warmth. Michael and Clara spent hours in the forest, exploring its paths and streams. But soon, strange things began happening. Sarah noticed that the house was always too cold, even when the stove was running. Her favorite houseplants began to wither without any apparent reason. Michael complained about knocking sounds on the window at night, even though his bedroom was on the second floor. And Clara started drawing strange figures, black silhouettes standing in the hallway. When asked what they were, the girl calmly replied, "They're the people from the basement." Jack tried to brush these things off as coincidences and children's imagination. But one night, he woke up to a loud noise. The knocking came from the basement, as though someone was trying to break the door open. Suspecting it might be an attempted robbery, Jack grabbed his gun and went to investigate. The basement had always made Jack uneasy. He rarely went down there, leaving it for storing old things and useless junk. But that night, he felt something different, a strange heaviness in the air, growing stronger with each step he took downward. The basement door was ajar, though Jack was sure he had locked it. He lit a lantern and cautiously descended the creaky stairs. In the corner of the basement, among old boxes, lay a dusty journal belonging to his grandfather. Jack opened the journal and began to read. The entries were fragmented but troubling. "They're here. They're watching me. I can't sleep. This house is cursed." The further he read, the more his heart tightened. His grandfather described strange occurrences, whispers in the dark, cold touches, things disappearing. The last entry was especially grim. "They want me. I can't leave." Jack climbed back upstairs, feeling the cold bite into his bones. He decided not to tell his family, hoping he could handle it on his own. A few days later, the situation escalated. Sarah began noticing that the mirrors in the house were acting strangely. Silhouettes would appear in them and vanish as soon as someone approached. One evening, Michael disappeared. Jack rallied the whole town to search for the boy, but he was never found. A week later, his face appeared in the old mirror in the bedroom. Sarah screamed, and the mirror cracked on its own. Clara became more and more withdrawn. She said she saw Michael at night, standing in the corner of her room. Sarah insisted they leave the house, but Jack, obsessed with solving the mystery, refused. Jack decided to uncover the truth about the house. He began questioning the town's elders, and one of them revealed that the house was built on the site of an old church that had burned down with its congregation. People believed the place was cursed, and everyone who lived there faced misfortune. In the town archives, Jack found articles about the fire. It turned out that the pastor of the church had been involved in occultism, performing rituals to connect with otherworldly forces. After his death, the souls of the parishioners remained in the place, bound by the curse. This knowledge only strengthened Jack's resolve to find a way to free the house. Jack invited a priest to bless the house. The priest agreed, but as soon as he stepped inside, he said, "There is too much evil here. I won't be able to drive them out." Nevertheless, he performed the ritual and warned that it was only a temporary measure. The evil did not retreat, strange events continued, and Clara spoke more often about the people from the basement. One night, Clara, sitting in her room, claimed to have seen Michael. He was standing outside, calling her. Jack rushed outside, but found no one. Sarah noticed that Clara's room was filled with a strange smell, like burning. The next day, Clara disappeared. She was found in the basement, sitting in the corner. Her eyes were empty, and she kept repeating, "He'll come back for us." Jack decided to destroy the evil once and for all. Armed with gasoline, he set the basement on fire, hoping the flames would free them. But as the fire consumed the house, shadows began to emerge from the flames, dozens, hundreds of souls, screaming and distorted. They surrounded the house, filling every corner, and Jack realized that escape was impossible. The silhouettes began to close in, their whispers deafening. "We're here because of you," echoed in his head. Jack grabbed a shotgun, hoping to protect himself, but with each attempt to resist the shadows, he lost strength. They surrounded him, showing him scenes from his past, his missing sister, dead colleagues, mistakes he had never corrected. This was not just an attack, it was judgment. To save Sarah, Jack sent her to the neighbors. He stayed in the house, knowing he had to face the curse. His final conversation with his wife was filled with promises and sorrow. He knew he wouldn't leave the house alive. In the final moments, as the flames nearly consumed him, Jack heard a whisper, "We want you, Jack." He realized the curse was tied to his family, and only his death could stop it. Clenching his teeth, he entered the heart of the burning basement, straight into the heart of darkness. The shadows closed in on him, and suddenly, everything became silent. Silence that was worse than any scream. And then, darkness. The house burned to the ground. All that remained was scorched earth, black and lifeless. Sarah left the town, taking with her only the bitterness of loss and memories of Jack. But every night, she heard the whisper, "You can't escape." Sometimes, she would see Jack's silhouette in the mirrors, looking at her with an expression full of sorrow. The townspeople claimed that at the site of the house, one can see silhouettes of people standing in a circle at night. They don't move, don't speak. They just wait. Waiting for a new sheriff, a new hero, who will dare to challenge the darkness.